Hi everybody and welcome back to Nellie and Ruth Designs. Well, I thought, and I want to say I thought, I was going to create with you another color cube card challenge. And this is the card that I picked, 042. And I know this is more like a Valentine one because it has all the little hearts, but I love the colors. And I just thought it would be a whole lot of fun if we worked on something bright and cheery in these cold days of January. So I went through, and of course, as you know, see, this is quite the contrast from the last one I did. This is going to be going here. So I want to show you how my mind works in creating a collage and kind of a behind the scenes of what I do and just how I think. So I came in yesterday. Today, doesn't matter what today is because I'm not sure when I'm going to post this, but I came in my craft room yesterday prior to this video and pulled everything, and I said, great, I want to see what I can find in this wonderful painting flowers book. And this book here is so much fun. And I picked this up at probably a library sale, I'm thinking. I didn't pay a lot for it, but I do love getting these books because you can use these images in so many different ways. I'm not that great of a watercolor artist, so there's nothing I would read. I'm only getting it for the images in here. So I'm like, going through and looking at everything and all the pretty colors and all of the images. And I came upon this flower right here. And I said, aha, this is perfect because it has this pink in it. It's got some of the kind of like a, I don't know, cotton candy pink. And then it has other varieties as well. And I thought, oh great, it's the same size and yada yada yada. So from there my mind was wandering, and as I was looking at this flower, I thought, how cool would it be to have a woman's face coming out of the flower and looking at me this way and looking at you. So then I said, this would make a really cool surreal art backdrop. So you see where I'm going, right? This we are going to set aside, and this will be the next project that I work on because I've scrapped that. So if you're new to my channel, this is how I roll. I would love to have you subscribe. Take a look and see how this little piece of surreal art is going to come about and how I think and such. I want to thank everybody for returning, all of my regular gals and gents who have subscribed to me. And a shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. And I did want to mention the Happy Hamster and the Generous Giraffe. If you want to take a look, I added a couple more benefits to that tier. I think I've notified the gals that are in that tier, but if you want, go back and take a look. I've added a couple little things to it. So thank you for all your support. So then I got thinking, as you know, I pulled this to work in my ATC cards. So I thought, well, I should be able to find a face in here. So I went through and I'm looking, and I found one, and I'm going to show you. I didn't mark her, but let me see really quick. I'm trying to make quicker videos too for you. Okay, so I'm going through and I thought, aha, she would be really cool to use. And yes, she would, because she is facing the same way as the flower. And the reason I'm doing this, showing you this, is if you like surreal art and you're not quite sure how to start or what to do or what to look for, this is why I do this. I could just make the collage with no explanation. And some of you may wonder, like, why'd she do that? And I really like to make these into little tutorials because I know a lot of gals really want to try this art. I know a lot of gals are afraid to do it. And I figured if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I try to make sense of my surreal collages, especially if you've seen mine in the past. So this is just all to help you. Remember, this channel is for you. So she would be fantastic looking out of this. So I set her aside. And then I thought, okay, well, what could she be looking at or what could be going on? So then I pulled my Extraordinary Things to Cut Out and Collage book. And again, I'm going through it. And they have all these fabulous hands and arms, which I will show you. And then we have these swimmers here. I've cut a couple out. This is what I cut out because I think this will just be fun. So I cut these swimmers out right here. I have this gent here. I know he's kind of small there. So I have this gent and I have this gent right there. And they're just minding their own business and they're swimming away. So they are fun. So I thought, I think I'm going to use them. And then I thought, well, I wanted to I found this arm and hand, piece of an arm and hand, very interesting. So I said, I'm going to use this. And I thought instead of having the gal be popping out of the flower, I'm going to have this popping out, coming out of the center of the flower. And then I thought, well, if we're swimming, they're going to have to be swimming into something or through something, okay? And I'd really like to have one of these guys being picked up by his britches, kind of like, yeah, we're not going to allow any more swimming inside the flower. So I have another book, which I think I put away. Oh no, this came out of the Extraordinary Things to Cut Out and Collage as well. So they've got in the back some seagrasses and other things. I'm just getting here. Let's see here. I'm doing this one-handed. So they have this in the back. So I cut this one out here because I kind of wanted it to blend in with this pink. So then I got looking at this and I'm like, well, I really need to, like, you know, spice this up a little bit, make it stand out a little bit. So, of course, look what I got. I got my gold liquid acrylic ink. Paint, whatever you want to call it. Acrylic, I guess, is paint, right? So, in looking at this, I thought I would tip some of this seagrass and give it a little bit of a gold sparkle. So if you haven't seen me, which I know a lot of you have, if you haven't seen me work with this, I'll do a little bit now. And I need to clean the tip of this because it gets chunky and this gets in here. This is pretty dry. That's why I'm using my nails here. I'll do that afterwards. But if you get this on you, just be careful because even though it's dry, it will come on and I don't want it on here. So I'm going to put a little bit here. And I probably should have shaken it. I'll do a little bit and then I'm going to step away and I will finish it. But I want to show you how I'm going to put this on. So I don't know if I want to necessarily do the entire thing. So I have two different shades. If you can see, I have two different shades of, this is kind of like a purple and a blue. And then I have the lavender with the purple. I think I'm going to start with the tip. And I cut this out on here with my X-Acto knife. And this took a little bit of time, but that's okay. There's a little spot here I missed. I'm just going to take this off with these scissors. Okay. And you don't have to use an X-Acto knife. I just prefer to use one because, like it says, you can be exact with it. These I'm just rounding because I went kind of like straight across with my X-Acto knife. So I'm just going to round these a little bit, these tips. I really don't want them square. And for some of you, this might be a little too tedious. I love intricate work. So this doesn't bother me. I really like doing stuff like this. All right, so they are all rounded. And I use a small flat brush. I can't see on here. Like there's no name or anything on this, but this says 10, so this must be a number 10. And I'm going to start here, and this might be a little tricky because this is really fine paper, and it may just make a little bit of a mess. So I just kind of have to be careful here. But I think I just want to give these tips a little bit of a shine and a glimmer to them. I hope everybody is well. It is very, 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 and I mean very cold here in the Adirondacks. We had to do a field trip today to the quarry, our northern quarry. We have two quarries. And we had to go look at a stone ledge. We have to do a blast in the spring. And it was so cold. The wind. And we had to go to the top of the mountain. We drove as far as we could. And the reason, you're probably asking, why are you going out in the wintertime in the cold? And we have to plan. Because once March and April come, that is the rock and roll time for the business. And that's when a lot of things start happening. So there's a lot of planning to do. Decide if we're going to do core drilling to make sure if it's a good section, if it's the same color stone that we need. There's a lot to it. And I am learning all over again because I've been away for 27 years. So it was actually refreshing for me to go out and my husband kept saying, remember when we walked this? And I'm like, no. It's like 27 years ago. I don't really remember this section of the quarry because it's been developed so much. Okay. So that's why I'm making this video. It's about 8 p.m. And I think I'm going to be doing more videos at night. I'm back working. And the only reason I'm back working really kind of full-time now is our assistant controller is about to have a baby anytime. She's due February 5th, but I don't know. She may go early. And I have to learn some of her job so I can help out the other gal in the office and our controller. Okay, so we have this, and there's just enough sheen and glimmer to it. It went pretty fast, so I didn't really have to leave any of you. And I'm going to let this dry for a few minutes, and then I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm actually going to, I may have to put the dryer, a little bit of a hair dryer onto this to make sure it is dry, because I'd have to really let this set overnight. Okay. So I don't ruin the collage. So I'm going to go clean up. I'm going to get this dried, and then we will start building the collage. Okay, so I have this. You can see here, I have it. It's all dry, and it has just enough little shimmer to it to make it stand out on this right about here. Okay. And I picked this one because it did round up a little bit on here, like that. So the first thing I'm going to do, because I want to set this hand and the forearm first. And when you work on a collage, don't rush it, okay? Now you will notice when I cut this, I cut a very small border, a white border. I'm contemplating, I believe I'm going to mount this on a little bit bigger piece of white paper, and you'll see why. What am I doing? Oh, I need my X-Acto knife, which is, it has escaped from my desk. Now oh, here, it's right here. I was just using it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to cut I want this right coming out of this section right here where it V's in. I think it will be less distracting, and you will see that it's actually coming out of the center. All right. So I'm just going to kind of measure. Okay. I think right about here like this. And I'm just going to kind of wiggle this around. Now, if you have a really sharp X-Acto knife, and I know I say this all the time, and you decide you don't want to have your little slice there, then you're really not going to see it. All right, so we're going to, and I really don't want this green to show. I just basically want this flower. Sometimes when I cut, I'm thinking, am I cutting in the right space, or because things have to overlap. Okay. And we're going to tuck this right in here like this. So you can see that is now coming out of this flower. And I want it coming straight out like this. And this is why I will be mounting another piece of paper over this. But mount your paper afterwards, because if you have to make other cuts, you don't want to cut through. It's kind of like framing a picture. You want a nice, just clean back on it. So I'm not going to glue this down yet. I want to make sure everything is in where it's supposed to be. And this I would like right down here like this. I want this stem coming down, meeting. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. This can go one of two ways. I can move it up like this. Okay. Or I can actually have it come up around like this. Like that. All right. And then this guy, by his britches, I've got to cut this little tiny bit out here. And I don't think, I mean, you don't have to cut this out. I like to, because it's, to me, it's just a little more, I don't want to say realistic, because this is a surreal collage. And this guy is going to be swimming through here. And this guy, let's see, now if I'm holding him, if I'm picking something up, the thumb is in front. So I want to make sure I have the thumb in front. Okay, there we go. And he is being picked up like that, okay? And then I want him, and this is where you have to be patient. So as long as I know, let's do this, as long as I know this is here, that's what I want, okay? But what I'm going to do is, because there is a little bit of white around this, his thumb, I don't want that white to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step away, and I'm going to trim all this little bit of extra white or off his fingers. All right, so I cut as best I could the white off. I don't want to get too close. So and we said the thumb is going to be in front, right? You pick something up like that. So, and just so you can see, I'm going to move this. I don't need to cut anymore, but I want to bring that paper back, the white paper, and I think you'll be able to see a little bit better what I'm doing here. So if I have this straight like this, I think he will be just fine. But what I'm going to do is I am going to tack this hand down on the paper here, because I want to make sure that I have that straight. All right. So I think that is good there. And in the past, I have used glue, but it leaves a little mark. So I'm almost tempted. I'm just going to use a little piece of tape. Whoops. It'd help if I took the top off, wouldn't it? I'm going to use a little tiny piece of tape right there. And that will stick right there just fine, okay? Now, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get this situated on here. And I just want to see what way this is going to be blowing in the wind. And I think that might be fine there. And then he's going to be, see, I want to make sure because I really do want him I want him in like this, okay? He's holding on to him like this. But I want him to be, I don't want him by his feet. I could put him by his feet where she's just grabbing him, or he is grabbing him like that by the feet, which might actually be a little cooler. And he is trying to swim away. Right here. I would actually kind of like him somewhat going behind here, because I want him in the thick of this, all right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with this and see exactly how I can get him, so part of his body is through here, then having the hand pick him up. All right, so I have this fixed how I want it, because I wanted him coming and swimming right through this area here. So what I'm going to do, boy, it is very, very windy here tonight, and something just went down outside. What, I don't know, but it didn't sound good. I don't like the wind. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that there like that. I'm going to put a little dot want to bend that finger. Okay. Okay. This is like brain surgery. Okay, so we have that there. My husband must have heard that bang too, because he was watching TV, and I don't hear that. I don't hear the TV anymore. So something is afoot outside. Almost sounded like a delivery truck. You know how, like, you'll get a delivery, they come in the, open up their back door, they roll that big door up, and then they roll it back down. That's what it sounded like, but there's no delivery truck out there. All right, okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dot here with glue. And then I'm going to do this because my glue's giving me a little hard time. I got to unplug this. And I'm going to glue off camera because you really don't need to watch this. Okay, so I have some of this glued down. I didn't glue it all down because I might put some other things in and around there. We will see. All right, so I took these two shells and I had to step away from what I was doing and think about how I really wanted this to go. So this, I know, these shells, I'm looking at these as portals, all right? So I have this guy, he is going to try to swim in here, and I want this guy to try to be going up here, swimming up into this portal as well. But I want him to be swimming out of this shell down here, which again is a portal. So I'm going to have him swimming out like this, okay? And we're going to put him like right up and around here. All right, and I think that will be positioned just fine there. All right, I like that. So we're going to glue him down here. Get my glue here, make sure it's all unclogged. Okay, so he is swimming out of there. I'll put a little dab on his foot here. And of course, this is where the surreal part comes in, because does anybody ever swim out of a shell? No, I think not. Okay. Okay. So there, this guy is swimming up like this. He's swimming up across. And then this shell here, I decided to have a fish swim out of it. And I like this one because I think it's just, he's got his little one-piece swimsuit on. And I made a little slit there. And I just have to decide how much of this fish I want swimming out, and the direction of the fish I want him swimming out of this portal here. So I think maybe this might be good like this, because he will swim right in between the two of them. Okay. And I'll tell you, I've used this glue, my art glitter glue. I do not use a glue stick, because I find even when I make my master boards, it dries out. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it does dry out. Okay, all right. So now we have our guys here swimming in and out. I'll glue a little bit more of this down now that I know we're good to go. Just putting a dab here and there. Okay. All right, the others I will take care of afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to raise this up. I did pick I do have a paper. I am going to, here's my paper here. Let's raise this up. I am going to mount this on a white backdrop, and I will tell you why, because I have something else that is going to be going on here. I'm going to take a little tiny bit. I'm going to adhere this with the tape instead of glue. And I'm only going to do the sides and the bottom, and you'll see why. Okay. The reason I'm mounting this is because I have these items here. Hanging off the side. And I kind of like to do that now with my collages. All right, I'm not going to do up on top there yet. So there we have it so far. Now, I just thought I needed something very surreal to add to this collage. And I got thinking about the theme of it. And they are swimming. We have the flower. It could be an ocean flower. And something is living in the flower, like the shells here. This could be another portal. This one is plucking. Well, I'm going to let you decide. I'll tell you my story, and then you can decide what you think, and then leave it in the comments. This hand here could either be grabbing him to bring him in, or he could have been in here, and he went into the wrong portal, and he's dropping him out to go into the correct portal. So I was going through my What Every Woman Should Know book, and I have showed you this book, and this is fabulous. I'm using this a lot now. And I found this image of this woman standing at her washing machine, and she's wringing her towel through. My neighbor actually had I say sewing machine, a washing machine. My neighbor actually had a washing machine like this when I was a little girl, and she had it set up in her kitchen. So she has her laundry basket here, and she's wringing them out to probably hang on the line. And I thought she would be perfect because she has a towel in her hand. So what I went ahead and did, I went and I made an incision. I call it an incision because, like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm doing brain surgery. She is going to go right down inside of here. And I grabbed her as well because she is looking down. She can either be looking at her towel, or she can be looking at the guys down here, making sure that they are doing everything that they have to do, go where they're supposed to be going. I can do one of two things. I can leave this and I can bring this down a little bit more so you just see the machine with her, whoops, get her hand here, like this. And I think you would definitely know that this is a washing machine. I kind of like that. Or I can bring this up a little bit more and I could cut this handle out and have this hanging down, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to leave this down like this. And I think that will be good like that. Then I'll trim the top down. And this could also be where she is preparing their towels after they swim. So there's different ways that you could look at this. And I think that's the fun thing with surreal art, is that everybody views things differently. and you can create your own story as to how you see it. But I think, again, surreal art is to do just that. It's not really to make sense, but to me, some of it has to make sense. But it's to invoke, you know, I think a feeling, an idea. Obviously, it's something that you haven't, you know, seen before or experienced. It's just to create a, you know, I wonder why, or, oh, that's cool. I didn't think of it like that, or I didn't look at it this way or that way. And I think that's why I like creating surreal art, or these surreal collages. I don't know if I call this art, but these surreal collages, because it's just surreal. You just don't see this. So I just cut the top down a little bit, and there you have it. That is my surreal piece today. I think it's fun, something definitely different, something that will get you to think about everything that is going on, but mostly it's just fun. And that's why I enjoy making these, because it is just fun. Makes you use your imagination, makes you think out of the box. And I think it's a really good way as well to get you out of a rut. If you don't know what to do, just play. Just sit down and have a fun play. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this collage. I hope you had just as much fun as I did. I hope I was able to inspire you, give you ideas, teach you something new today, and just have a different outlook on your collage art. So that is it, my friends. I am so happy you sat with me at my craft table today, and I will see you in my next video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.